In this video, I will show you how to use the camera calibration toolbox from Stanford University by Jean-Yves Bouguet. Sorry if I'm calling that name wrongly, but yeah, I think this is a great toolbox that you could use to calibrate your camera, especially if you want to recover the intrinsics of your camera. And so in this video, I will be showing you how to install it and how to apply it on your calibration images and recover the intrinsic and also the extrinsic if you need extrinsic too. So without further ado, let's get into this. So the first thing you want to do is to download this toolbox onto your computer, and it's as a zip file. And so it's here, the instructions are explained here, but they're not quite explicit. That's why I'm doing this video. And so if you want to do that, you just have to click on this download page. I've already downloaded it, but if you click here, then it will open up this little tab for you. And just to confirm, you just have to click on this. So once you click on this, it will download, and you could find it in your downloads. So if you go to your downloads, here I'm using Firefox. So if I go here, I downloaded it I think a few days ago, so it will be somewhere here. So it will look like that. Downloaded it on the 19th, and so that's the toolbox. Let me show you where it will be in your downloads actually, but I moved it just to organize stuff to my computer. And so mine is, I'm just using Terminal now to look for it. Let me just open a new one so I don't overwhelm you with a lot of unnecessary information. So I just click there and do new. So if I ls, I'm at home now. I dropped mine in software, so I created a software folder where I put most of the downloaded files needed to install the software. So here, for example, I created one called the Calibration Toolbox. So you could also create that by using just make there, and then you could just do that. But since I already have that, I don't need to do that. So I'll just go into that Calibration Toolbox, and in it is this particular folder. So I just extracted it, and to extract it in your downloads after downloading it, like if I come to, since I'm on Mac, if I go to my download now, this is the folder, but I've already extracted it, which is here. So if you just double click on this, it will extract itself. So if you just double click on it, it will expand and it will create this folder for you. And basically now I have two copies, so I'll delete one of this because I don't need that. So I move and now make the copy of this guy, and that is what we have in this particular folder here as this. So they are basically the same. So if we do a diff of this compared to that, it will be the same. Not exactly the same now because I've already done some modifications, and I will show you how to do those so that it works for you. And so if you go into that toolbox, just to give an idea of scripts that are there, you have a lot of scripts here, and I've also added some images. You can see I'm calibrating two cameras, and so I have the cam 1 and I have the cam 2, and the numbers here I just selected a portion of the images. So it just goes from 10 to 19 for cam 1, and it goes from 10 to 19 for cam 2. So just 10 images, 9 images are okay to calibrate. You could do 20 if you want, and all the scripts they provided are here in this folder. And so the first thing that I struggled with was there was no instruction of where you should leave your images. Actually, you have to leave your images together with the script. That's why you have my images here. So already I have somewhere I have all the images. I just created an rsync kind of stuff that just sync few of those images I want to use into this particular folder. And notice that I'm having cam1 underscore before the number of the image. You really need this because when you want to run the script, it will ask you what is the suffix or what is the prefix of your image name or the file name, and so you have to provide it as cam1, and that's it, and it will be able to like read this. Same for the cam2, you need to type in cam2 underscore that. I'll show you that just in a minute. And so just to give an idea of what is here, there's a lot of scripts here. You will not be using all of them, or I will show you the ones to use. And so next, once you have this downloaded and placed in the folder of your choice, again, you don't have to organize it the way I organized mine, where I had a software at home, and I have a calibration toolbox, and then I have this particular extracted file that I downloaded from that website here. You could do it this way if you want. You just have to create these folders. So you could just, if you want to do this, you could just do make the dash p, that's like a parent, root so that it will create all the folders, the chain for you. But I don't need to run that since I already have that. Okay. And so next we want to head to our Matlab. Again, you have to have Matlab installed in your computer. It's already installed. So if I launch Matlab here, Matlab opens up, and then I need to navigate to where I drop those files. I'm already there. So if I do ls here, I'm already there. If I do pwd, same as that. If you're not yet already there, just have to like come back to where you drop the files and do pwd, and if you copy there and you come back to Matlab and just do cd and paste that, it will take it back to the same place. I'm already there, so I will just do Ctrl+C just to get out of there. Okay. And so what the first script you want to use to call the calibration toolbox is actually the calib GUI. So this second one here, I'll just click on that, and if I run that, then it opens this little tab for you, asking whether you want to use a standard where all images are stored in the memory. That's kind of like, it overwhelms the computer. Sometimes you have like many images, not really actually, they are small files. Or if you want to be more efficient, then you could use one image at a time. I usually go with the first one. And so the first is just try to follow this by rows. I think so. I think, yeah, that's just what you need. The first 4 are what we need. So you start from your left and you go towards your right. So the first will be to provide a path name, which is these image names. And then next we'll read those images after we've given those paths. And then next we'll extract the grid corners of the checkerboard that are in those images. And then next we'll do the calibration. And after here we'll have we choose to show the extrinsic, which should project back on the image, analyze the errors, or compute the corners. If some checks that you do, you see there it's not really that accurate. And one of the checks will be to confirm that the value you're getting for your focal length matches actually what the manufacturer gave you as a spec of your camera. So if it doesn't match, then you may want to recompute the corners. Mostly that's where the error will come from. Okay. Then you could also add and suppress, and you save, have it load, and you could exit. So basically what I'll be doing with you in this video is to go from here to here, and I'll just do some little stuff that will guide you on how to use this other one. So right, without further ado, let's start with the first one. So we click on this first one, image names. So it will bring up this little instruction here. It says that the base camera calibration image without number. So remember I told you that you need this cam 1 in front, so let me just do with cam 2. So it's asking that you provide the first the prefix of your images. So in this one, name them as cam 1, then the image number, and then the extension. So I'll have to provide the prefix, which is cam1 underscore. So just have to type in here. It doesn't want you to provide a suffix, so no .jpeg, .jpg, nor the number, which is 10, for example, in the one I highlighted here on the screen. And so what I want to type is just cam2 underscore. So that's the prefix basically, and I'm just avoiding just a number and just extension. So if I hit enter, and then it's asking me for the image format. So what do I save my images as? And these are the formats that are accepted. So I have RAS, BMPs, TIFs, and PGM, JPEG, PP. If you have PNGs wouldn't work, so you have to convert them to, for instance, JPGs, which is what I did. I had BMPs, for example, I converted them to these guys, to JPGs. So if you want these JPGs, in my case I have JPG, so I just have to type in J here. So I could just type in J there, and now it's actually loading the images, and it has used their instruction to be able to like know that, oh, I have cam2, 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 and the total number of 5s, there are 9, and he loaded 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to 9 to last one, whatever. And he did a preview just to give an idea that, yeah, he has access to those images. If it doesn't look like your images, or if you have several other images and they're not the ones you want, you can always change by refreshing or restarting the process again. Mine, this looks good, and so I will just minimize. I don't really need that for now. Remember the tab we had at the back? It's somewhere at the back here, so I will just drag it to the side. So this one, let me just keep it here so that I can be able to access it while you also see what is opening on my screen. And so if I click on this guy now, just to pop it up, next we have done this one. We have like all the image names. Next is we want to read those images actually. So I'll click on this grid images. Now it's actually loading the images, and so after that I want to click on extract grid corners. So if I click on that, then it brings up this prompt that extraction of grid corners on the images, number of images you want to process. It already gives you an idea of the total number of images I just loaded here, so it has 10. Let me just do 10. Okay, that was the instruction. You could use 10 to 20 images, so let's use 10 images. If you want to use, oh, you don't have to type 10 really, you could just use a bracket. So now since I want to use everything, I will just do the 2 square bracket. If I do enter, then it asks for the window size of the corner. So when you want to click at the corners, how big do you want that window to be? 5 pixels looks okay with me, so I'll just do this. So this, if you want it to be 5, then you could use this. So I'll just do that bracket. In the X and the Y, I want the same thing, so I'll just do that. And then it asks, do you want to use automatic square counting mechanisms? Yes, of course I want that. Nobody wants to do something too manual. If you don't want to do that, you could also do the manual, which is 1. In this case, I could do 0 or square bracket, and then everything will work. So let me just do square bracket since I've been using square bracket since. And then it will load the first image, pop it up on your screen. So it tells you it's processing the first image, and you can also see the image number right here. And that is me behind the checkerboard, and here I'm calibrating IR cameras. So these are infrared cameras. They're not really visible, that's why you may not see them to be too crispy, but yeah, that's what I want to calibrate here. Quick checks that you want to do is you want to check this axis and see that the image size both in X and Y matches the dimensions of your images. If it doesn't match, please, you want to make sure you fix any issue that might have caused that. You could also look by the side here and see that these dimensions here matches those images. For example, the camera I'm working on, if I go here, this is the IR camera I'm working on, Fly SLS, this particular model, and the resolution is 640 by 512. These checks are good to make, and the pixel size in square is about 5 micrometers. And so if I go back to the Matlab here, and that should match this number, so 512 by 640. It looks good, so I don't have issue. So what I want to do here is asking me to click on the 4 extreme corners of the rectangular complete pattern that I want to actually calibrate. So the section on the image that I want to calibrate, so I just need to select portion of the checkerboard that I want to calibrate in between. So I will not use the edges, I will just use these squares in the middle. So I click on that corner, I click on that corner, I click on this corner, I click on this corner, and that selects those checkouts for me. Once I'm done, I have to provide the dimensions of each of those square boxes. There, mine is 71 millimeters, and it's supposed to be in millimeters, so you don't need to type millimeters again. And it's a square, so 71 millimeters or 71 millimeters. I need to do an approximation of where the corners are based on those dimensions you provided. Okay, so that's the first one. I think this looks good to me. Then it asks you, do you need an initial gaze for the distortion? I don't want, so I will say no with the square bracket, and if I enter, it will pop up the second image, and I will just repeat what I did in the first one. So I wouldn't be talking again, I will just speed up the video while you see how I go through all of them. Just try to be as close to the edge as possible. You don't have to be exact, to do the rest of the correction for you. And then again, it will ask me again for this initial stuff, which is quite annoying. Again, each time I have to tell it. Okay, so now I have completed the process of selecting those corners, and it has done the reprojection back to those points, and now I'm good to go to be able to get the statistics of those camera lenses. Okay, so let's bring up that little box again to go to the next level. So we've done first, done second, we've done third. Now it's the calibration. If I just click on this calibration, then it should calibrate it. So now I just completed the calibration. I'm interested in intrinsics, which are these stuffs here, these parameters basically. So I'll just copy this and into where I've been leaving them. cam 2. So that's the information I needed. So these are your intrinsic. So you have the focal length. That's the focal length in the y, in the x and the y, with the errors associated with them, and also the principal point. That's the principal point of the camera. So the model, you have the distortion coefficients, which are this KC, that's 6, and you have the pixel errors there. Okay, you could also like get your extrinsics, and to confirm that this actually makes sense, since we know the pixel size of the camera, we could, if we pick this and multiply it by the pixel size, it should give us the focal length in millimeters basically. And so in this case, I have, say, this number. I know that mine is 25 millimeters focal length. If I times that by 15, just what I saw on this website here, the 15 micrometers, if I times those by 15 micrometers, it should give me 25, so it gives me 25 millimeters, so that's correct. So that's one way you could verify that what you've done is correct. There are also a bunch of other stuff here that you could do. You could choose to show the extrinsics, for example. So you just plot that and tell you where your checkerboard is, the distance from those boards where your camera was. You could reproject on images. I haven't tried that before, but it's asking me for number of images to show. Let me just say 1, and just reprojected those back to the raw image there for us. And we could choose to do analyzed error, and that's the error of your y and the x, and those are the bunch of those projection errors that you got. You could try to recompute or add and compress, or save and load, or whatever you want to do. Export calibration data on this dot image. If I click on this dot image, let me see what it does. I haven't used it before, and it's asking me, do you want to undistort all the calibration and or new image? I could just say I don't know, let me just say so it's saving all the undistorted image in the same place as PMPs. And is there any other stuff? Export calibration data, I think that's already. Show calibration results. If I click on that, it should pop up this result again. And if I do export calibration data, then ask to export calibration data listing in Zank format. Two possible formats are that and that. I could just do the Zank format, which is V1. So I just type V1. Export calibration data to text Zank format, base name for the whatever. I'll just say my colleague results. That'll be my best name. And for the 2D, just to need to export everything here as those colleague whatever. And so that was that for the. I hope this was helpful, and of course I will just clear the memory now and stop the rest of the stuff. Please subscribe if you found this video helpful.